Our next speaker is a volunteer like I am, who's done a lot of work with the Libertarians, helping them. He's also the chairman of the Coventry Republican Town Committee. So you've got a lot of people working now trying to find, under any party banner, like-minded people. This is where we are. He's going to be basically speaking more for the millennial generation. Matt's have a young, he's going to have a boy in about 3 months, and 32 years, he's 32, right? Matt O'Brien.
Thank you, Joe. Whose first rally is this? That is awesome. So glad to see new people. This is the time to network. This is the time to meet people that think like you do and spread the word on all of the things that we're talking about here today. Like Joe said, I am Matt O'Brien. I'm the chairman of the Republican Town Committee in Coventry. Today is Thomas Jefferson's birthday. And in light of our governor pledging clearly that he would oppose tolls on cars before completely betraying that promise just 38 days after being elected, here's a quote from Jefferson. "Honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom." Jefferson tells us that the Declaration of Independence was the work of man, the work of a sound principle, compromise, and resolution on behalf of the common good. It was what brought 13 what were at the time separate nations together in Williamsburg in the spring of 1774, when we learned what had occurred just 100 miles from where we stand today in Boston. Again, now I call on that same spirit and call to action to speak to each of you this morning. I speak today for the dignity of men and women across the state, the destiny of our state, both today and far into the future. I urge every member of all parties from every walk of life, from every corner of the state, to join us in our cause. There's no cause for pride in what has befallen our once great Connecticut, but there is cause for hope and for faith in our future and what is happening here today because of you. As a financial advisor, I have heard the cries of pain and quiet suffering inside of our Connecticut family. Our neighbors are depressed, they're hopeless, and they're giving up. We feel like the friends and family that we're losing every day are like deaths to us. They're gone, and they're not going to come back. When will we be the last one standing? Are we willing to just wait? To stand by and watch the flames burn, growing ever more powerful and suffocating? In our time, we have become complacent in unrelenting tax increases, from numerous income tax increases imposed over the years, to new gas taxes, to higher property taxes, and now tolls every 6.5 miles on our interstates. We're suffocating. We are more compassionate, I think, than a government that turns its back on veterans, taxes us to death, and lets middle-class families sink further into poverty year after year. That sits on its hands as Hartford drowns in crime and disrepair and debt right before our eyes. The Malloy economy squandered the legacy that generations of Republicans and Democrats have built, and other parties. And we cannot rest until we have restored that legacy for ourselves. Today I say to the people of Connecticut, to Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, Independents, unaffiliateds, enough. I'm a Republican, and I have to admit, as a Republican, Republicans have often failed us. They fail because they do not fight. They can't go outside of their comfort zone. They lack the backbone to take a hard stand against what we all know is destroying us every day. This is as simple as right and wrong, as truth and deception. So many have not been able to break through and win our elections, and we won't until we find leaders who are willing to put their name on the line at risk of being humiliated, scorned, and ridiculed for those among us unable to speak for themselves. Where are the future leaders of Connecticut? Because we need you to step forward now. In these dark times where evil holds sway, those unable to act should look for another path of public service, and let the patriots step forward and take the reins. And then I say to you, who among you is willing to put everything on the line to fight? To fight for your future, your children's future, your grandchildren's future. Is the phrase not the consent of the governed? Does that phrase hold any meaning for any of us anymore? Do we, the governed, consent to tolls? No. If we're to have a future in the state of Connecticut, we have to fight for our homes, our jobs, our health, our rights, our families, our liberties, and truth above all else. This new generation of Democrats seek a socialist nation. A nation that desires to take our homes, jobs, health, rights, families, and liberties away from all of us and make us all wards of the state, casting us into shells of our former selves, irrelevant participants in our own lives. And it is then that we will lose our freedom. We will. I'm not willing to lose any more freedom. And I'm not going anywhere. Conservatives can turn all of this around if we as a conscious body rise up and say no more. No more taxation, no more fees, no more theft. Stop abusing the people. As Republicans, we need to increase turnout by small margins in our towns, and it all starts in our towns. Republicans control a huge number of towns at the municipal level still. Increase voter turnout in all of them, and we win. The past failures of conservatives is a failure of will. We must reactivate our collective power, fight for our individual liberties, and secure Connecticut for perpetuity. It's going to be a constant mental battle. Every day you'll be fighting not only diversions and shadows, but your own self, your own doubts. And when you look deep enough, you'll discover that you individually have the power to save us. Get mad and stay mad, and we will emerge victorious. We will restore our standing as a free and prosperous state. We will halt the erosion of our freedoms, our rights, and our dignity. It's time to reclaim our place at the national table, to rejoin other states that have chosen to move forward without us. We have a choice to move forward and unleash the economic might that we know Connecticut can become again, or to fall like ancient Rome into the dustbin of history. For part of what has been lost these 40 years can't be measured by lost wages or bigger deficits. What has been lost is our sense of common purpose. I stand before you today to tell you that all across Connecticut something is happening. People are experiencing hope again. After every No Tolls rally, I see smiles on people's faces. Smiles of people experiencing the empowerment of finally doing something to stand up to Hartford. What the naysayers don't understand is that this issue isn't about politicians, it's about you. Hardworking people who have been ignored by politicians for far too long, and we've had enough. Together, we're going to change our own destiny. We will prove what history teaches us, that at defining moments like this one, reinvention doesn't come from Hartford. It comes to Hartford. And here we are. Generations from now, we will look back and tell our grandchildren that this was the moment that we rose up and changed the course of Connecticut for them. We rejected mediocrity and failure and a government that no longer worked toward our prosperity. That this was the moment when we shouted no to excessive and burdensome taxation, and we fought back against the theft of our hard-earned resources. I see a day coming when our jobs engine will burn red hot again, and the moving vans will turn around and race back home to be part of a new dawn in Connecticut. And you see the day, because it starts with you. Run for office in your town, or help those that are running. Encourage them the most, and work relentlessly, and don't give up.